looking for the Brittle brothers.
I know what they look like, all right.
They sold my wife, but I don't know the who.
You help me do that?
There ain't no grave.
I'll give you your freedom and take you to rescue your wife.
Peter, can you see why some people might object to the film?
I think what makes people nervous is basically any contemporary Hollywood movie tackling the subject of slavery at all. Contemporary Hollywood is so reticent on this subject that it amounts, I think, almost to a conspiracy of silence. They're okay with films about slavery in the context of abolition, but the regular day-to-day concept of unabolished slavery, that's something you don't go anywhere near. And I can only think of a couple of films recently that have had the balls to go anywhere near it. One is Lars von Trier's, his film Mandalay, and rather brilliantly this one, Tarantino, who with incredible verve and chutzpah has just tackled it head on in a way that all the squeamish and fastidious liberals would never dare to do.
It's not like obviously a historically accurate portrait of slavery,
no,
though, is
it's
it?
not at all. Although I think that Tarantino himself is quite quick to tell you that there's nothing actually factually inaccurate in any of the incidental detail. But it's the fact that he's done it at all. He appears to be not shrouding the subject with a kind of hush of contrition and seriousness. And the fact that furthermore he tackles the Uncle Tom figure, and that is almost mind-blowing. It's gasp-inducing that he's done so with such aggressive confidence. I think only he and Samuel L. Jackson could have possibly got away with it.
Henry, we know Tarantino is one of the key chroniclers of modern-day American popular culture. Did you feel that he was a bit of a fish out of water in 1850s Mississippi here?
No, absolutely not. I think he fits comfortably into what he's doing. But that, in a way, is part of Tarantino's genius, I think, that he manages to pick and choose whatever he wants to show and will make it his world. So even if we're in, you know, a kind of revenge fantasy set where somebody's slaughtering someone with a samurai sword, such as Kill Bill, it's still noticeably Tarantino, and he steals a lot of ideas from other directors and makes them his own. And that's all he's ever done to better or worse effect, I think. I think whether you're shocked by this film depends on whether you can really get with Django himself, in that we are following him along as an individual on his own revenge fantasy, and he isn't political, and he isn't really engaged in the slaves' cause at all. There's no point where he is actually sympathetic to any of his fellow slaves. He just wants to get his wife back and take her out of harm's way.
I think it's part of his genius is the sheer incorrectness of this film, that he's just blasted through that kind of paper screen of squeamishness to make this movie. There's such brilliance in it. I would say on a personal note, I think he has been a fish out of water. I thought he was a fish out of water in the Second World War with Inglourious Bastard, which I thought just didn't work. I thought it had some brilliant casting choices, and one of his great discoveries is, of course, Christoph Waltz, who is used, I think, to much better effect here as a kind of a good guy. He has the same kind of steeliness and faultless English and screen presence, but I think he's much better as a kind of a good guy here than he ever was in Inglourious Basterds. He's such a find. He's such a brilliant find. It's so funny to see him become a kind of repertory player for Tarantino.
Why then did Inglourious Basterds not work for you and yet this did?
I think it's not so much the offence, I think it's the fact of boredom. I thought the story of Inglourious Basterds was boring. I wanted the Inglourious Basterds, the troupe of actors, to bond together. I wanted to know all about them, and I wanted them to go on a journey and to enact a revenge together. But Tarantino bafflingly didn't seem interested in that. It all just seemed to flunk out. Nothing really happened. Whereas there is a journey here. Again, quite a long journey, and this is quite a long film, but for good or ill, this is a real character arc and a story arc happening. And as Henry says, you can get with Django in a way that I never got with the Bastards.
I also think the characters and particularly the actors' performances in this carry the weight of the pastiche far better than Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah, we've spoken about Christoph Waltz and Samuel L. Jackson, but there's a truly terrific performance from Leonardo DiCaprio.
He's stunning
as
in this.
Calvin Candy, the plantation owner.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love his smile, that strange kind of cat that caught the cream smile, because very often in movies, some of Christopher Nolan's movies, he's very stern and unsmiling and deadpan, whereas here, when his face lights up in that demonic smile, he's absolutely brilliant, and his performance is just superb. As I say, if it was in a very serious Spielberg-y film, he would be honoured in every award ceremony, but he and Samuel L. Jackson, again, what a performance, it's brilliant.
You really free?
Yes.
You mean you want to dress like that?
What kind of dentist are you?
Touch your guns, you die.